Hi guys, and welcome back to... Can you hear that? Okay. Yes. Back to my roots. Anyway, welcome back to yet another episode of the Black Consciousness Movement channel. On this channel, obviously, we talk about our roots. Hey, Lucky Dube. Hey. Oh my God. Our languages, just everything about our culture, our black awareness, our black consciousness, like that consciousness as a black person. Anyway, today episode, we're gonna title it, Where is Candace?
I'm going to be honest with you because everybody's noticing it. Every single political commentator in America, every single one of them knows this, that if you do not step out and say things that are radically pro-Israel, or if you are too quiet on certain narratives and they want you to be radically pro-Israel, you can lose everything. That's truth. That is a fact. I'm not feeling like I need to hide from that anymore or be afraid to say it, rather, is a better way to say it, because I've endured this for years. I'm just at the end of my rope. I have given so much rope here, and I am just done with it. Every person that you are a fan of, they know this. Every person that you line up to go here speak, they know this. Again, it's not even on the basis of what you say. It can sometimes be on the basis of what you don't say. That an entire mob will assemble, write piece after piece after piece until you subjugate. If you don't subjugate, the bounty grows larger. So yes, there was a large bounty on my head for the crime of refusing to suddenly hate Muslims and to condone Muslims getting bombed following October 7th. Everybody can see that.
And there's a lot of information that I want to share with you today. Yeah, me and my son have been praying for Candace Owens ever since Tuesday. Like, honestly, and like Wednesday I woke up with my heart beating like, where's Candace? And she hasn't posted ever since Tuesday, and she posts every single day. So anyway, let's get started. When we say black is beautiful, we are not comparing that beauty with other races. We are not saying black is beautiful more than white, black is beautiful more than brown. We are just teaching mainly that black is beautiful. Welcome back, and as I say, today's episode is called Where is Candace, for a reason. So I think I talk about, not our last episode, but the one before that, I told you guys that I hardly watch news. The only person that I once in a while watch, if I want to know what's going on in the world, is Candace Owens. And today's episode is gonna be about where is Candace, because I'm really wondering where she is. So I'm gonna share some videos of why I'm obviously asking where Candace is. And first of all, I want to share, I think I shared on the other episode or video that I talk about Candace. So I'm not gonna repeat it, but I said before that I don't necessarily love people because I agree with them. I have a lot of things that I not necessarily agree with Candace Owens, but I came to admire this young, beautiful woman, and so because there's things that I agree with her, I obviously will share what I agree with her, but at the same time, I'll be able to share at which point I don't agree with her and why I don't. For example, one of the people that I feel like has proven Candace points when it comes to, like, I always say that Candace, why most black people has a problem with Candace is because she parent black people like an African parent. And I think what I mean by that is that African parents has their own way of parenting their children. We are known for being very strict. I'm one of those parents who actually feel like the Western way of parenting children is not completely perfect, but so is the African way of parenting children. So what I do is I mix the two, and it works very well for me because both, for in case you haven't noticed, has a lot of loopholes. And although this one might be that all children become so good that they are obviously afraid of you, afraid to raise their points, and in that sense, they are very probably well disciplined, which is good. But you also want to raise children who can stand for themselves, children who knows that they also have the right to be able to be different and have their own opinions. And on this side, you have parents who give their children almost close to everything. And I have to say that when I say black parents or African parents, and I'm saying Western parents, I'm not necessarily saying all African parents parent this way and all Western parents parent this way, but I'm only taking that from a certain percentage of, like, most white parents do this and most black parents do this. But as I said, I mix this, so I'm already telling you that I'm not on either side when it comes to parenting, because I parent my children both ways. Because as I wanted to say, on this side, you have parents that allow their children everything, that their children can actually say the F word to the parent, and the parent will still say, Johnny, that's okay, don't worry, Johnny. You know what I mean? So in that sense, that's why I'm saying that I am parenting children taking both ways. But what I've seen with Candace, she is parenting black people from a perspective of an African parent. And when I say that, what I'm trying to say is she is very hard on black people. Now, most people, and I'm going to start with us probably before I even share the videos, most people believe that Candace is being given money to talk bad on black people, but I honestly believe that Candace is sincere in her ways of, like, talking about black people or even to black people. I think she's sincere. She really wants, she thinks that's that way, or the way she's doing it is to really kind of in favor of the black community. And to a certain extent it is, but to a certain extent she's also doing damages. And the reason I say she is sincere, because you need to remember that people can be sincere, but they can be sincerely wrong. So she is sincere because I know that she's the type of person that you cannot give her money to be able to do something that she doesn't believe. So she might be believing that what she's doing or what she's saying is really in favor of the black community, but she is sincerely wrong because some of these things are damaging. For example, as I said, and as I wanted to say, one of the people who proven her point right when it comes to, like, sometimes black people really, having or using the race card is Fani Willis. And I'm going to share a video. And maybe before I go, let me share the video of Fani Willis. Let's take a look at that.
A place that you resided. Okay. I don't understand you about to get me out. In 2020, I lived in South Fulton. Okay. That's the only place I lived in South Fulton. That's before I had to abandon my home, Judge. All right. And at my home in South Fulton, he never came there, okay? So if you don't come someplace, you can't live there.
That's I'm going to have to caution you. You going to be my first time out to caution. We have to listen to the questions as asked. And if this happens again and again, I'm going to have no choice but to strike your testimony. So, we need to break this down. Ms. Merchant's question, I believe, was asking whether you lived anywhere other than South Fulton.
Okay, we are back. So I'm wondering what you think about that. For me, Fani Willis being able to play the game of like, oh no, like, people saying that, oh no, she's going to be fired from, Trump case because she's black. It's completely ridiculous because, this is a woman who in court clearly is not telling the truth. And obviously, I'm not going to go into details about whatever it is. I'm going to leave all the links of anything that I'm talking about down below. And then you can go and watch and you would know what I'm talking about. But obviously, this is using the race card because you are clearly not being taken off the docket or off the case because you are black, but because of what is being proven you have done with, the money and all those things. And as I said, I don't want to go into details, but that's one part where obviously, a case where it has been proven that, okay, it has proven Candace's way of, saying that black people use the race card. But does it mean that every single black person use the race card? Of course not. They say it's not a race card if it's a fact. But now we obviously need to differentiate between facts and fiction. Okay, so one of the cases specifically for me that have not agreed with Candace is, I'm going to share that clip, is I think they were talking about affirmative action and, all that. And then they end up saying reverse racism and so on. And I think there's a place where they talk about, can black people be racist? For me, I feel like when somebody say black people can be racist, either you don't understand what racism really means, or we need to find a complete new word or definition for racism. Because I think racism is one of the words that are mutating depending on whoever want to use the racist, the narrative of either somebody being racist against you or you being racist against somebody. Because I completely 110% believe that black people can be racist. It's impossible because racism is situated or very much very much implanted in a system to oppress minority groups. And black people they have not been able to be in that power. Even a black person in South Africa can be racist. Because obviously by now we know that 90% of the wealth in South Africa belongs to 10% of the population who's obviously white, while 90% of the population who are black has to really fight for 10% of, the remaining kind of little things or wealth, if I have to say that. So even a black person in South Africa, which is obviously, in Africa, can be racist because racism is actually institutional, like it's in the system. So if it's systematic, it can be that, because remember, black people are not concerned about you calling me the N-word on the streets, because then I can call you the C-word. And you probably need to find out what the C-word is. So black people are not concerned about those things. We are concerned about me being able to not find a job or qualify for benefits because I have a black sounding name. Those are the racism that we are talking about. And that cannot be coming from a black person because we just don't have the power. So when Candace talk about reverse racism or whatever she call it, I'm not agreeing because black people cannot be racist. They can be prejudiced. They can have prejudice, right? But they can be racist. So as I was saying, Black people can be racist because we just don't have the power. We can be prejudiced. We can have things in our mind about, somebody who is black benefiting because I am, a black person and I want somebody who's my color to benefit. But it's impossible for us to be racist. Sorry guys, there was a lot of noise going on, but I think I ended at the explanation where I was saying that because I think most people, I shouldn't say most people, maybe, but I should say most white people don't agree because the system obviously is benefiting them. But when we say that black people can be racist, that's the honest truth. We don't have the power. We don't have the power to be able to use the system against you guys, right? So we don't really have that power. So we can be racist if we really know what racism really means, unless we have to change the definition of the word because, like when you look at that, that's why I'm saying that we can be prejudiced. Like any race can actually be prejudiced against another one. So that's different. But as a black person, like the minority group has no way of being racist. So as I say, on that point, I don't agree with Candace. And I think the other thing is also when we look at affirmative action, the way she put it, to a certain level, I'm like, I'm smart enough and affirmative action will spoil my part if it looks like every black person whose adversity or wherever it's gonna look like, okay, they are there because probably it's affirmative action or whatever. But I think most people misunderstand affirmative action. Affirmative action doesn't take a black person who has an F and put them in varsity, but they might take a black person who has a C or a B over a white person who has an A. And in that case, I really don't see anything wrong, especially when it comes to the case. That can be called reverse racism. What do you mean? Because it's just giving the person kind of a head start, So I see nothing wrong with that, especially because no reparation has been paid to us in general. So there's nothing wrong with that. And I think one of the things that I always say is this. When it comes to, for example, let me say like, somebody who doesn't have the necessary qualification got put into a position because of affirmative action, I think Candace might actually kind of disagree with that and say that, oh no, but they are not qualified and so on. But I think that's a problem, another problem that I have, because white people were put in the same positions without qualifying and they did it. I think the only difference is that we see black people being put in these positions, but because it's not really because they were put there for the reason of like really being able to change it, but I think they have a system called tokenism. So they are being put there just for the sake of like showing that, oh no, at least we have black people in the company, but they don't prepare these people to be able to be in that position. And, like when white people were put in positions that they didn't deserve in the past, they were very much prepared. They were kind of like being given the right training. But now when it comes to black people, they're being pushed there to survive, to fend for themselves. And it also gonna be to show the point that black people can do it. Like it's almost like we are going to put them there and then we're gonna prove that they actually can do it. That's the thing. So, but watch this clip about Candace Owens and these two professors, to be quite honest, because to be quite honest, I am kind of to a certain level, like 80% with the professors. The reason I say 80% is because there's a difference between accepting a black student who has an F or a D in comparison to a white student who has an A. But a black person who has a C or a B, because in the past we have been pushed behind, I don't see anything wrong with that. So watch this clip.
When you say, hey, we have black students at a particular school who aren't performing at that school as well, the immediate assumption that you're making is, well, maybe it's because they're not smart enough, they're not good enough, or they don't belong here. Whereas it could be about the experience that they're having at that institution. Professors who believe that they're not intelligent enough, that they don't have the capability to do the work, that they see them as criminals, deviants, dangerous, up to no good, or they talk about them with the they statements. They're lazy, they don't care, they don't really belong here. They're only here for the financial aid.
I'm giving you actual facts.
No,
right?
I'm giving you actual facts based upon extensive
say, well, maybe they just don't feel good, but that's not the case. I mean, I went to university. I did not feel good, right? I didn't pull the best grades in high school. Probably got into a better university than I should have gotten into based on my performance in high school. It wasn't because of my feelings. It's because I wasn't focused on it, and that we're talking about a cultural problem. What's going on back at home, as was in my circumstance, and none of that is because of institutionalized policy. It almost seems like you guys refuse to accept that, Black students aren't performing well. You feel like you have to have this burden of responsibility when, in fact, if you actually wanted to help, you would look at the facts, re-examine the fact that it's not helping anybody. It's not helping Black Americans to artificially place them into universities, and you'd make effective change.
But you're making the assumption that Black students are academically inferior, and they're not.
Okay, we are back, and I don't really want this video to be long because this video is about Candace Owens. Where is Candace? Anyway, I'm going to share a clip right now about how Candace, has been talking about, the help or the aid that the U.S., she was against the aid that the U.S. is giving to Afghanistan, to Ukraine, but also to Israel. So she wasn't specifically against the aid that the U.S. is giving to Israel, but specifically about different countries, and she has a point. Just listen to this.
For those of you that listen to my show, you know that as a regular beat, we constantly talk about the emotional engineering in our society, the emotional engineering that's taking place in American society that's meant to make us want to support causes, whether it's at home, like you should feel bad for an illegal alien and we should be funding this even though it is to our detriment, or, and especially abroad. It gets especially senseless when we are being emotionally manipulated to want to support causes overseas. And I didn't support our money being sent to Afghanistan. I did not support our money being sent to Ukraine. I did not support, therefore, our money being sent to Israel. And I've especially been harsh when it comes to Ukraine. When that conflict broke out, don't forget, Ukraine was doing so much propaganda at that time, particularly Zelensky. Remember this photo that I absolutely lambasted? Zelensky with his wife for Vogue. What is that? Why are you on the cover of Vogue? If you are in a very serious war, you shouldn't make time for this. And then, of course, we had the Associated Press, and he was all dressed up in army fatigues. Again, emotional manipulation. He's not fighting on the front lines. Why is he wearing army fatigues at all? Wear a suit. Billions and billions of dollars being sent there. And lastly, and this made me especially frustrated, when Zelensky appeared at the Grammys. What an absurdity. This is an American entertainment show. It's supposed to be an entertainment show, and it should be completely void of any sorts of overseas propaganda. So, of course, in the context of how I feel about this sort of a thing, it makes perfect sense that I would say that NGOs and the Israeli government should not be creating ads telling us that we need to call our senators, call our congressmen, and demand more funding for Israel, demand more support for Israel. That doesn't make sense. We are in America. It's very simple.
Like there's some things that we don't agree on. We don't have to agree with everybody, or we don't have to agree with everything that everybody say for us to know that she is trying to do the right thing, right? So having said that, please subscribe, comment, like, and please don't forget to push that notification button so that every single time we upload a new video, you are ahead of your game and we can notify you. Take care, guys. Bye.
Kelly